All right, so some pros and cons to flipping homes, and then we're going to give you some pros and cons to buying properties with cash flow. So, number one of the pros to flipping is you get the cash. That's the goal, right? So, you get a big lump of cash. It's beautiful sitting in your checking account. You feel good, right? I love it. I kid you not. There's nothing like settlement day and you get this lump sum of cash. I'll tell you, if you've never experienced that and you've never had that much money in a transaction, let's call it 30, 20, $30,000, $50,000, you've never had that much. It is an amazing feeling. You feel so great. Anyway, so don't get tempted to spend that money. But again, that's one of the pros. You do have real liquid cash that you're able to buy more investments with. And the pro is that you build confidence. You've really like conquered something that a lot of people who've desired to do this, that you've done it. So that's a big pro because it gives you confidence that you can do this. So, and again, if you're even watching this video, know that you can do this. This is not hard at all. So another pro about, again, going into the cash and receiving the cash, that it's sometimes good. You can partner with someone and split that cash where you can manage that risk. And because it's a lump of cash, if you've analyzed the deal correctly, you and the partner both can benefit from that while carrying the property. Okay. So those are just a few things, and I can give you some more on it, but for now, for the sake of this video, I just want to explain just a few of the pros. Now let's talk about some cons of flipping or accumulating that cash. High taxes. Typically, you're going to find yourself paying high capital gain taxes. And again, with property, that's one of the benefits. And again, that's a pro for the cash flowing properties, but the tax benefits. So one of the things when you're flipping property, you're going to pay short-term capital gains, or you're going to pay some capital gains, right? So it's important just to make sure you have a good advisor on your team that will help you structure the proper, proper entity structure, and also how do you need to sell the property in order to help with your tax bills. So another con, you make no money until you sell the property. And I think that's the biggest con. We talk pros and cons of flipping a property. During the period of time that you're fixing the property up, it's sitting vacant, again, the con to that is you are carrying all the holding costs, the payments, the interest, the insurance, the cutting the grass, depending on what time of the year, heating and air conditioning. You're carrying all that cost with a hope of receiving a lump sum of money at the end of the transaction. So that's a con, so you have to consider, can you hold on to it? And another con that you can have with going into the property, that when buyers come, they could be very picky. When you sell it to the next person, one of the cons is they could be very picky on, should they pay this amount for the property? Hey, I want you to do more. I wish you had painted this color, because they're looking at it at the eyes of a homeowner or a purchaser of your property. And some may call it a con or not, but again, and there are more, but for the sake of this video, again, we're just going to say those are some of the cons that you can run into when you're looking to buy and flip a property and looking for large sums of cash. Okay. And again, you could always not hit your number. That's a bad thing, or a con, I would say, if you didn't hit the exact goal number you desired to receive when you sold the property, because appraisal, the property didn't properly appraise, depending on where you are, sometimes, or what type of loan the person is doing, you can end up having to get two appraisals on a transaction. And if it doesn't appraise for the number you thought it didn't, you thought it should appraise for, that could be a big con. Okay. So again, pros and cons to all of them. Let's talk up a little bit about the investment of rental property or cash flowing property. So a lot of times people don't like the cash flow because it seems slower, right? It seems that if you're getting $200 and $300 a month and you've put out $10,000 to get $300, $400 a month, or $200, depending on where you are, it's a slower process. You're not getting this big lump sum of money up front, right? And so those are one of the cons that I see people tend to not like with cash flowing property. It seems a slow way to build. But I'm gonna tell you, it's the coolest, because as you build more and more of those type of properties as a pro, you will begin to see that cash flow build, and it would turn into a snowball effect the more properties that you buy. Okay. So another con, or again, we're just talking pros and cons to these investments of cash flows. Another con could be when you're dealing with the cash flowing properties, is, do you have the proper management team and proper people in place that can help support your goal in this, right? You get a bad property manager. I've experienced that before, and your property sits for too long and you can't get it rented, or you get a bad tenant, right? That's a con. That was a risk you take if you become a landlord Or if you yourself, you choose not to hire a property manager, you end up becoming a landlord, and a con could be you're taking calls and people are complaining about the property. You are now a landlord, and that could be a con to some people. We recommend finding a great management team that will support you in doing it. Okay, so let's talk a few of the pros again. One of the things I like about cash flowing properties, you can build real residual income over periods of time that could eventually have you financially free, where you literally have an income from your investment that replace your job, and you could be financially free, financially independent. Is really cool, right? So, and again, I use that interchangeably because some people, again, for the sake of this, I just say it's about having independence where that cash flow is coming in, and you're able to live on that money without having to physically go to work every day, right? If that's your goal. Everybody has different investment strategies. The other thing that I love about properties that you can buy cash flow in is the the tax benefits. And I'm not a tax advisor, but again, the way you're taxed on cash flow in properties for now today in 2004, it's different than what you would pay on an earned income tax level, right? And so again, check with your financial advisor or your accountant, but they can explain the difference. So what if I made $25,000 a year in cash flow? What would be my taxes? And if I made a flip and I flipped that property within 90 days and made 25,000, how much would I pay in taxes? And that way you can get a better understanding of the differences of the tax benefits of a cash flowing asset or a property that you will receive cash flow. And again, another pro to it is that you can add leverage, which you can in the other transaction. But the cool part about the properties that you can get cash flow on, the moment it's ready for availability and you can get a rental or someone rent it, you are no longer having to be responsible for the maintenance as far as like the carrying costs during that period of time, as long as your income from the tenant is enough to cover the notes and whatever maintenance, everything on top you make, but it's not coming out of your pocket. It's someone in that property paying those expenses for you, and you're taking advantage of the depreciation and the tax benefits of that. So just a few things to consider. Again, the pros and cons. Neither one is bad. I just think it's what works for you. So hope that helps and help you make a better decision with your investment vehicle.